A man must always guard 5 things from a woman. These 5 things are not about deceit, they are about discipline, about understanding the subtle balance between openness and mystery, and about protecting the essence of masculine strength. Let me take you back to the story of a man named Zayn. He wasn't the type who sought attention. He didn't speak loudly. He didn't dress to impress. Yet, wherever he went, people noticed something different about him. Calm energy, a quiet confidence, a sense that he carried a world inside him but wasn't desperate to show it. But Zayn wasn't born this way. In his early 20s, he was the opposite. He believed love meant giving everything, and when he met a woman named Aisha, his entire world revolved around her. He shared all his dreams, all his fears, every weakness, even the mistakes of his past. He thought full honesty would keep her close, that total transparency would make her feel safe. That love demanded complete exposure, but reality struck hard. The more he opened himself, the more she pulled away. The more vulnerable he became, the less respect she gave him. And slowly, she began to test him, compare him, and question if he was truly the kind of man she wanted. Zayn didn't understand it then. He thought being soft and open would win her loyalty. Instead, it drained her attraction. Eventually, she walked away. At first, Zayn was crushed, confused, angry. He couldn't understand why giving more of himself had only pushed her further. But instead of begging or chasing, he chose silence. He disappeared for 2 years, and in those years, he changed. He studied human behavior, psychology, and ancient philosophy. He read the Stoics Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca. He studied men of history who knew the value of silence, mystery, and restraint. He began to see what love really was, not about exposing your every weakness, but about showing strength while still caring deeply. When Zayn returned, he was no longer the same. He still loved, but he loved with strength. He still cared, but he did not hand over his soul. He still spoke, but his words carried weight. From this transformation, he learned a powerful truth. A man must always keep 5 things hidden. These 5 are not about deception. They are about power. They are about control. And they are about ensuring a man never loses himself in love. Let's explore these 5 in detail. 1. A man's deepest weakness. Every man carries weaknesses, moments of fear, insecurities, shadows of past failures. But Zayn learned that not every weakness should be revealed. This doesn't mean a man should never be vulnerable. A man can feel, cry, and admit pain, but he must choose the time and place carefully. Because when a man pours all his weakness at the wrong moment, it does not create closeness. It creates doubt. Zayn remembered how he once told Aisha about his deepest fears, his financial struggles, his childhood insecurities, his failures. At first, she listened with compassion, but slowly her image of him shifted. She began to see not just his humanity, but his fragility, and attraction began to fade. Here's the truth. Respect and desire are built on strength, not fragility. A man's role is not to be a stone without feeling, but to carry his emotions with discipline. Even the Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations that a man must not be ruled by his pain. He must acknowledge it, but never let it control him. A man can share parts of his struggle, but not all. He can let her know he bleeds, but he cannot collapse in her arms every time life gets hard. Because here's what women deeply understand. If a man cannot stand on his own, how can he stand for her? 2. His full financial status. Money. A subject that can build or destroy relationships. Zayn once believed, in telling everything his exact salary, his debts, his savings. But he learned the hard way that money changes the way people see you. A woman may love you for who you are, but once she knows every detail of your finances, expectations shift. If you're wealthy, she may unconsciously demand more. If you're struggling, she may begin to doubt your future. Zayn realized that financial privacy is not about greed or secrecy. It's about balance. A man should be generous, but not exposed, responsible but not predictable. The Stoics taught self-sufficiency, to live with wealth without being owned by it, to live with little but not feel poor. That's how a man should treat his finances. In relationships, never flaunt, never beg, but always stand steady. A woman should value you for your character, not your wallet. When she only sees the surface of your financial life, she's free to appreciate your essence. But when you hand her every detail, she begins to weigh and measure you. And love should never be measured. 3. His next move. Predictability kills attraction. Zayn once told Aisha every step of his life, his plans, his schedule, his goals. At first, it felt like intimacy, but soon she began to know him too well. There was no mystery, no surprise, no unpredictability. And without mystery, desire fades. When Zayn studied history, he noticed a pattern. Men who inspired respect and loyalty were never fully predictable. They acted with purpose, but did not broadcast their every thought. Their moves were revealed only after they were made. This is a lesson for every man. Keep your next step to yourself. Don't explain every detail of your future, because mystery creates curiosity, and curiosity feeds attraction. When a woman knows every inch of your path before you walk it, she loses interest. But when she sees only what you've accomplished, she remains intrigued. As Seneca once said, most powerful is he who has himself in his own power. That includes his next move. 4. His emotional dependence. This is perhaps the most dangerous one. Love her deeply but never need her completely. Zayn once believed Aisha was the air he breathed. He texted her endlessly, needed constant validation, couldn't function without her attention. At first, it made her feel wanted, but soon it made her feel suffocated. A woman cannot admire a man who clings to her for life. She wants to be loved, but she doesn't want to be his oxygen. Zayn learned that emotional dependence is not love. It's addiction. And addiction destroys respect. So when he rebuilt himself, he decided, I will love, but never need. I will care, but never beg. I will be complete with or without her. And ironically, this is when women respected him the most. Because true love is not about losing yourself. It's about sharing your strength, not your emptiness. 5. His entire past. Every man has a past, mistakes, failures, regrets. And Zayn believed confessing all of it would make him more honest, more pure in her eyes. But he discovered the opposite. Not every mistake should be told. Not every sin should be confessed. Some stories are for you, not for her judgment. Your past is your teacher. It built the man you are today. But sharing every detail will not strengthen the bond, it will burden it. Zayn realized this truth. A man's past belongs to him. A woman should only know what lifts her trust, not what creates doubt. Because love should be built on the present strength of man, not the scars of his past. The transformation. By living these 5 rules, Zayn transformed. And what's ironic is this women chased him more than ever. Not because he was lying, not because he was hiding out of fear, but because he was disciplined. He wasn't reckless with his words, his emotions, or his secrets. He wasn't building walls. He was protecting his kingdom. A man's true power isn't in what he reveals, it's in what he guards. Silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. Self-control is not coldness, it is strength. And keeping certain things to yourself is not deception, it is mastery. This is what Zayn learned. This is what every man must understand. Because once you guard these 5 things, you will never lose yourself in love again.